This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us and hang out here with us. Coming up, top free agents left. And we're going to take a look at some players I'm surprised are still available in NFL free agency. And some of these players who we'll talk about also fulfill needs that are still vacant and open on this Niners roster here. Let's begin with talking about two players at the same position. And I can't believe these players have not been signed by any of the other 31 teams in the NFL. Xavien Howard, who played last year with the Miami Dolphins, and Stephon Gilmore, who played last year with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm impressed by how the Niners have fortified the depth at the cornerback position this offseason. They have a legitimately deep cornerback room. And it might be the deepest under head coach Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. There are good competitions that are going to take place, and then I also like the overall talent of this Niners DB room. You have Charvarius Ward, who was a second-team All-Pro last year. Deommodore Lenoir, 3 years in the NFL. He's given up 3 touchdowns in coverage and continues to be an emerging player whose toughness I absolutely love. And of note here, Nick Sorensen did say that Renardo Green is going to start off in the slot. So that probably tells me Charvarius Ward, Deommodore Lenoir going to be the outside corners with maybe Renardo Green on the inside. But when I talk about this depth for San Francisco, you have Ambry Thomas, who I know has been criticized a lot by Niner fans. He was awful in the playoffs last year, benched in the Super Bowl, but we've seen him play well in games, but hasn't been a good practice player, which is obviously an issue, especially for a coach like Kyle Shanahan who values practice. You have Darrell Luter Jr., Rock Ya-Sin, Chase Lucas, Isaac Yiadom, Samuel Womack. Like, this is one of the deeper cornerback rooms that they've had in a long time. So when you talk about Xavien Howard and Stephon Gilmore, I think they're good players still. I think they have gas left in the tank, but I don't know if the Niners need to go this route at the cornerback position in signing one of those players unless an injury does happen. And if that's the case, then Xavien Howard or Stephon Gilmore could be a good option. Xavien Howard last year still had 12 pass breakups, even though he's lost a little bit of a step, 1 pick, 1 TFL, and 45 tackles. And then Stephon Gilmore really had to step in and be the Dallas Cowboys' #1 cornerback a year ago because Trayvon Diggs got hurt and he tore his ACL, and he had 13 pass breakups. So Howard, Gilmore, making plays on the ball, still having good instincts, 11 PBUs for Howard, 13 for Stephon Gilmore. Gilmore did say this past week he wants to go to a place where he can win and a place that makes sense. He still believes that he can play good football in this league, and I think that he can too. Former Defensive Player of the Year, still balling. Coming in at number 3 is the All-Pro safety Justin Simmons. Released by the Denver Broncos in a cost-cutting move, I cannot believe that Justin Simmons has not been scooped up yet because unlike some of these other players on this list who have declined a little bit, I don't think Justin Simmons has really declined at all. He might be entering his age 31 season, but he's a 4-time second-team All-Pro for a reason. My man leads the NFL in interceptions since entering the league in 2016. He has range. He has instincts. He has smarts. He's a team captain. He's a good leader, a good cultural fit. All of those things make sense for the San Francisco 49ers. And I would say, unlike corner, where you have a lot of depth, I'm not sure how much depth the Niners have at the safety position just because of the uncertainty around Talanoa Hufanga, who during OTAs is working on the side field, recovering from that torn ACL. I love what Jair Brown was able to do as a rookie. I think he can be a really good player in this league. He looked jacked when he met with the media earlier this week, so he's added some weight. He even said, that was the longest football season of my life because I wasn't used to it. From Penn State into the pre-draft process to the combine to rookie minicamp, OTAs, training camp, and the regular season. But all things considered, Jair Brown played really, really well. But with the depth, Malik Mustafa is a rookie. Eric Harris is a lifetime special teamer. George Odom, one of the best special teamers in the NFL. He's paid like it too. That's why the Niners gave him an extension. But at that safety spot, there are some weaknesses and flaws in his game. So with Hufanga still recovering from that torn ACL, the depth there is a little bit thin, which is why I think Justin Simmons would be a tremendous pickup for San Francisco in a move that could really move the needle for this football team. Take a gander at what he's done over his last 4 years. 2023, 15 games played, 70 tackles, 3 picks, 2 TFLs, 2 forced fumbles. He's more of that deep safety, so he's not going to make a ton of plays behind the line of scrimmage for those TFLs. He is a sure-handed tackler, though. He had the 6 picks in 12 games in 2022, 5 picks in 17 games in 2021, and then 5 more picks in 2020 with those 96 tackles. So again, he really is still playing at an all-pro caliber level. Couple of players left to get to on our top free agents remaining list. But first, to ask you this, what's the biggest position of need for the Niners right now on this team? But let me challenge you. Say outside of offensive line, what's the biggest need? Because offensive line still does have some glaring weaknesses. It is the offseason, but you can always support the Niners. And you can always support this show right here, the San Francisco 49ers Report. Those of you who watch our watch parties know when there's a touchdown scored, like Mr. Papa, San Francisco. Get your shirts now available in red and black by just simply going to chatsports.com/SF. We have sent these over the Pacific Ocean to Australia, across the pond, the Atlantic Ocean to the UK. Get yours today. Chatsports.com/SF. At number 4, you're probably wondering up to this point, Chase, you have not talked about the offensive line. Well, we're doing that right now. Charles Leno, formerly of the Washington Commanders. He's coming off a hip surgery. And last year with Washington, 880 snaps, an overall Pro Football Focus grade of 72.5. He gave up 3 sacks and 5 hits. Those are not bad numbers. The hurry numbers at 26, not great. You know what's actually pretty awful, though? 10 penalties. Could that have been because he was feeling that hip injury and he wanted to jump a little bit early because he had lost a little bit of mustard with the get-off coming off the line of scrimmage? Maybe. The overall Pro Football Focus grade, that is a good thing. 72.5, that is above league average. But after signing Chris Hubbard, the Niners probably made the decision to sign Chris Hubbard over a player like Charles Leno, and that's the decision that they went with. As for this Niners offensive line, fascinating to see how this plays out. Jake Brendel dealing with knee tendonitis, so John Feliciano taking center snaps during OTAs. Dominic Pooney is getting backup right guard snaps with Spencer Burford in there as the starter. I think the middle to right side of the Niners offensive line to be determined. We know what the left side is going to be. Trent Williams, Aaron Banks. But will Jake Brendel, John Feliciano, maybe even Drake Nugent play center? Who will play right guard? Will it be Feliciano, Burford, or Dominic Pooney? And then at right tackle, Colton McKivitz, Chris Hubbard, could be a little bit of a competition there. Colton McKivitz getting first-team reps this week at OTAs. If I was running the team and I was the general manager, the right tackle position would be better. I was fine with the Niners not taking one with the 31st overall pick, even though Ricky Pearsall was a reach. But in round 2, I would have traded up for Roger Rosengard. I would have tried to taken Kingsley Suamataia, a Blake Fisher at some point, a Karan Amagaji. I would not let offensive line issues continue to hold me back from reaching my fullest potential as a football club. At number 5, Emmanuel Ogbah. He's been a very productive player throughout his career as an edge rusher. And edge rusher depth, you're a little bit late there. Can Drake Jackson finally put it together? He still is not practicing, coming off that knee surgery, which prematurely ended his season last year in 2023. We've seen the flashes. As a 2023 second-round pick or 2022 second-round pick, he certainly has a lot of ability. Twitch, arm length, wingspan, bend, physicality. He just hasn't been able to do it to a consistent level. Chris Kocurek, very complimentary of him when Larry Krueger asked him about him, but he has to get on the field. He has to show it. And the practice habits need to be a little bit better from things that I've heard, where sometimes he's had a little bit of a lapse there. Now, Drake Jackson's still a really young player, but with the injuries and the uncertainty around his play, and then you look at this Niners defensive line depth chart, specifically at defensive end, are you a little bit thin? I think so. You are counting on Robert Beal, who's added weight this offseason. I think I saw he's up to 250, 260 plus pounds. He has good get-off, good speed. Yetur Gross-Matos can be in that Arden Key role, can play inside, outside. Drake Jackson, Austin Bryant, another edge rusher here, would really fortify this unit. And that's with the Niners, of course, acquiring Leonard Floyd in free agency, who's had 9+ sacks each of the last 4 years. And Brandon Staley said he's one of the best players I've ever coached. As for Ogbah here, 5.5 sacks in 15 games last year with Miami on a Dolphins defense that suffered so many injuries. Year before that, only 9 games, 1 sack. But then in those previous 2 campaigns, 2021, 2020, 9 sacks. So you look at the production over the last 4 years, he has consistently been able to get after the quarterback. You don't need him to be a starter. You would just need him to be a rotational edge on this team, and I think that he'd be capable of doing that. Get involved in the comment section right now. Pick a free agent you want the Niners to sign. It could be a player who we talked about, a player who we did not discuss. Either way, let's hear from the Niner Gang.